The Formula One world has been buzzing ever since Lewis Hamilton made the shocking switch from Mercedes to Ferrari. His debut was surrounded by high expectations. Could he still fight for the title? But now, just days before the Australian Grand Prix, an unexpected problem could put everything at risk. Hamilton is struggling with the SF-25. What was supposed to be a promising new era might be turning into an unexpected nightmare. The Ferrari demands a completely different driving style, and the seven-time champion was not expecting this challenge. But is this just a technical issue, or is there something bigger happening inside the Scuderia? From the very first practice sessions, Hamilton seemed to be battling the car itself. The numbers don't lie. Free practice 1, Hamilton finished 12th, 0.6 seconds behind Leclerc, who was in the top 3. Free practice 2, Hamilton moved up to P5 but was still 0.4 seconds behind Leclerc. In Formula One, 0.4 seconds is the difference between a champion and a supporting act. The worst part, Leclerc looks completely comfortable in the SF-25, while Hamilton is struggling to find his rhythm. If this continues, Ferrari might start treating him as the second driver sooner than expected. Braking. Hamilton's style doesn't work in the SF-25. Hamilton is a master of late braking, but the SF-25 requires a softer, more controlled approach. Was the Ferrari developed around Leclerc? His driving style fits this braking system perfectly. Rear stability, Hamilton's worst nightmare. Hamilton prefers a stable rear end, which allows him to carry speed through corners with confidence. But the SF-25 favors a more aggressive front end, something Leclerc loves, but which makes Hamilton uneasy. Tire wear, a factor that could ruin his race. Ferrari has struggled with tire degradation in recent years. If Hamilton doesn't trust the car, he may wear out the tires faster than Leclerc, ruining his chances on Sunday. But what if this isn't just a technical issue? Ferrari insists there is no number one driver, but is that really true? History says otherwise. Schumacher had complete control over the team. Alonso dictated Scuderia's strategy. Vettel was always prioritized over Raikkonen. Now Leclerc has been with the team for years, and the cars have been built around his driving style. Did Ferrari expect Hamilton to simply adapt to the SF-25? If Ferrari doesn't make adjustments for Hamilton, he could be forced to change his driving style while Leclerc continues comfortably in control. Hamilton has only a few hours to solve his issues. If he can't find the right balance in the car, he could end up stuck in the midfield. And in Melbourne, that means survival mode rather than an attacking race. The worst-case scenario, Hamilton fails to make it into Q3. He starts behind McLaren and Red Bull. His race turns into damage limitation instead of fighting for victory. If Hamilton doesn't react now, Leclerc could take control of Ferrari from the very first race. While Hamilton struggles to adapt, McLaren and Red Bull already look like strong contenders for victory. If Ferrari doesn't find a quick solution, they might start the season behind their main rivals. But can Hamilton turn this around? He has always been a master of adaptation. If he and his engineers can find the right setup, he can still fight for the podium. If not, he may spend much of the year trying to adapt, while Leclerc solidifies his position as the team leader. The Australian Grand Prix is more than just a race, it's a defining moment for Hamilton. If he improves in qualifying, he could still be in the fight. But if he stays behind Leclerc and his rivals, the Australian Grand Prix could turn into a disaster. Will Hamilton manage to turn this around, or has Leclerc already taken control of Ferrari? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Don't miss a single detail of the Ferrari battle. Lewis Hamilton's highly anticipated debut with Ferrari has started with a major challenge. He has yet to fully adapt to the SF-25. After the first Friday of practice in Australia, the seven-time world champion admitted that the car requires a very different driving style from what he was used to, and this could delay his pursuit of his first victory with the Scuderia. But will this adaptation happen quickly enough to put him in the title fight? Or could Hamilton spend the entire season trying to tame a Ferrari that seems tailor-made for Charles Leclerc? The numbers from Friday were not encouraging for Hamilton. Free practice 1, only 12th place, 0.6 seconds behind Leclerc, who finished 3rd. Free practice 2, improved to P5 but still 0.420 seconds behind Leclerc, who topped the session. Ferrari team principal Frédéric Vasseur tried to downplay the situation, stating that Hamilton is in a learning phase. But the question remains, how long can this phase last? In Formula One, every tenth of a second matters, And if Hamilton does not adapt quickly, he could end up in a secondary role within the team. Hamilton admitted that his struggle is not with the car's overall performance, but with the completely different driving approach that Ferrari demands. The biggest problem, the SF-25 does not allow Hamilton to use his traditional driving style. He has always been a master of carrying speed through corners and braking late. But Ferrari requires a different level of control to extract the car's full potential. What he said after practice, "Honestly, the car is very different from anything I've experienced on this track, so I struggled a bit in FP1, but FP2 was definitely better. I'm improving and gradually getting faster. The car isn't bad, but it requires a different way of driving." In other words, Ferrari may not be Hamilton's dream car, but will he be able to adapt it to his style, or will he have to completely change the way he drives? While Hamilton is still trying to understand the Ferrari, Leclerc seems completely comfortable with the car. He has already topped a practice session and is solidifying himself among the fastest drivers of the weekend. If Hamilton takes too long to adjust, Ferrari may naturally start prioritizing Leclerc. After all, he already knows the car and is ready to fight at the front. Saturday's qualifying will be the real test. If Hamilton does not close the gap, he could find himself starting in the middle of the grid while Leclerc fights alone against McLaren and Red Bull. Hamilton has always been a master of adaptation, but this time he will need to find answers quickly. If Ferrari does not make adjustments to help him and he continues to struggle, Leclerc could take control of the Scuderia within the first few races. Will Hamilton be able to turn this around, or does Ferrari already have a clear favorite? What do you think? Can Hamilton recover, or has Leclerc already taken control of the team? Leave your thoughts below. Lewis Hamilton's debut with Ferrari is still surrounded by uncertainty, and now Lando Norris has shared his thoughts on what we can expect from the seven-time world champion in this new chapter. And the McLaren driver's prediction is not exactly encouraging for Hamilton. According to Norris, Lewis will still take time to adapt to Ferrari and may struggle in the early races of the season. But will this adaptation period be just a minor hurdle, or a problem that could compromise his entire campaign with the Scuderia? After 12 years with Mercedes, Hamilton is facing his first real challenge with Ferrari. But so far, he has not been able to match Charles Leclerc's pace. The numbers from Friday in Australia speak for themselves. Leclerc dominated FP2 and was the fastest of the day. Hamilton finished fifth, 0.420 seconds behind the Monegasque. For Norris, this was expected. The McLaren driver, who finished as runner-up in 2024, believes Hamilton will still need time to find his best form with the SF-25. "I don't think I'll only be racing against Max Verstappen this year. It's going to be Charles, it's going to be Lewis, it's going to be Oscar. The two Red Bulls and the two Mercedes as well. But I think Lewis will still take a little time to adapt." The big question now is, can Ferrari afford to wait for Hamilton to find his rhythm, or will Leclerc already become the team's main focus? Fact: Hamilton has already admitted that the SF-25 requires a different driving style than what he is used to. Risk: if he takes too long to adapt, Ferrari may start prioritizing Leclerc in the title fight, and Norris reinforced exactly this point. That doesn't mean he won't be fast, but there are always some difficulties at the beginning. When you change teams after so long, it takes time for everything to fall into place. Time is working against Hamilton. If he does not quickly adapt to the Ferrari, he may end up starting behind Leclerc and the Red Bulls, making any real chance of fighting for victory at the Australian GP much harder. If Ferrari wants to fight for the championship, Hamilton cannot afford to lose races due to adaptation struggles. Or will we see Leclerc take the lead within Ferrari? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Can Hamilton turn this around, or does Ferrari already have an internal favorite? Subscribe to Formula One News and turn on notifications so you don't miss any details of this battle.